I used to go feed Caden. You guys always used to follow me.
You know what she's... Now we're sitting here looking at her like, oh, shit.
Mama's Code.
Hey guys.
Welcome back to another episode. I'm Melissa.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to be talking about boob or formula. So the reality is, what did we go for? Did we have either or? Do we have a preference? What was our take on the whole topic?
The whole scenario.
Yeah, because it's a big thing that everyone talks about.
I think it's social pressure. My precious. No. I think it's a social pressure on motherhood, and I feel like if it's daunting for you, then you need to stop, because breastfeeding should be something pleasurable. It's something, it's a moment you're bonding with your baby. So if it's not working out, it's absolutely fine to stop and look at alternatives. And I just feel like we're so pressured into it and we're so swayed. It's like the only way you can feed a baby. I feel like we should be able to decide without feeling pressured or judged and swayed into like, no, breast is best. No. Fed is best. There's just such a big pressure around it. And from the moment that you give birth, or no, actually, before you give birth, for me, before I pushed out my baby, it was already on this so-called, what do they call this paper? Plan? Birthing plan. Which they would be like, do you want to breastfeed or how are you going to feed your baby? In my one, I just put, I will decide on the day, because for me, I didn't want to set myself onto a plan. It was more of my preference. And so I didn't want to be pressured on the moment, because I didn't know how I was going to feel. So for me, when that day when they passed me the baby over, they said to me, would you like to breastfeed or what? How are you feeding the baby? But it was always like, why do you instantly put that?
Yeah, and I think sometimes if you're a young mum as well, it's almost like, well, you're probably not going to breastfeed, and why aren't you, kind of scenario. So even if you do decide to breastfeed, some people will be like, oh, like, well done for doing it. And
then what about the mums that are bottle feeding?
Yeah.
Why don't they get a well done? Maybe they tried and they couldn't, or maybe they just didn't feel...
I think people are just quick to judge as well, because it could be breast milk in a bottle, but maybe you just can't, for whatever reason. Maybe your baby
God
can't
forbid
latch
you take
on,
out a bottle.
Exactly, or you want to give them formula. Or what?
Or maybe they...
Do you guys not feel like me, that I mix feed? I felt like when I went to my midwife appointment and, they ask you like, well, how's the baby fed? I felt...
like you had to say it was from the boob.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they'll look at you like, why?
I remember a midwife was like, I said, oh, I mix feed him. Why? Oh, but you put your boob milk into the bottle. And I was like, no, I give him formula. Why? And I'm like, he just doesn't get full. Like, I don't have a see-through breast to see how much milk he's getting, but he's like on my boob for an hour, starts crying, and he's still hungry, and he's like eating his hands. She's like, oh, well, then maybe you're doing it wrong. There, you're just
there, like you're already thinking, oh my God, I'm a failure. I'm not giving my baby what apparently is the best nutrients for him or for her. And, like you said, your midwife was already asking you like, why? And I'm pretty sure her face was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you've gone home like, damn, like I'm doing it wrong, like she said. But actually, we all have different milk supplies. Your first pregnancy, you could have had not so good milk supply, and your second pregnancy, you had a big supply. It's all different, and some women can't. So actually, sometimes the woman can, but the baby can't latch on. Maybe the babies are tongue-tied, which is an issue that is like an underlying thing that they don't really see to at first. It's always like, oh no, you're latching properly, not doing it right. But actually, it goes, a bit further.
No one really looks deep into it, like we as mums, first mums, or even if you already have, there's a lot of pressure, as we've mentioned before, on, your hormones are all over the place. You're trying to, grasp all this information you're getting and trying to keep this little other human alive. And on top of that, you have the pressure, maybe from family members and even like, say, doctors and stuff, that you almost feel like I have to give him breast. If I don't, what are people going to think of me? I had a girl say that she didn't want to breastfeed because she wanted to keep her boobs. Like, basically, she's given her body to this baby.
Yeah.
This baby's given her stretch marks. This baby, like, it's literally ripping her vagina apart. Why can't she keep one thing to herself?
Like, it's something that you can actually control. Whether...
Yeah, but this person got so criticised because she made that one decision for herself. But then they want to turn around and be like, you know, you have to have a purpose outside of your baby when your baby's big. No, babe, you need to have a purpose from the get-go.
It's just the whole thing, like, from when the baby is born and at the hospital, they immediately like, okay, let's get the boob out. And it's like, no, wait, hold on. In my bag, I've got a sterilised bottle and I've got milk. Like, that's what I want to do. I do not want, you know, at all to have them on the boob, because it's just, you know, you've got mums that, like you said, just don't, they want to keep that part of them to themselves, or they just mentally aren't there and they just don't want to put themselves through that.
And I think it's okay. I think as a mum, you just need to be confident and sure in yourself when you've made that decision to say, you know what, this is what I want to do. And people, unfortunately, need to learn to respect that. That's your decision. Whether you want to breastfeed or not, that's no one else's problem, or it shouldn't be of interest to anyone else, and you do what works for you. I remember for us, I'm mixed fed as well. The bottle was there, the formula was there for me to rest, for me to have my sleep. You know, if Dan can help with feeding, if my mum could help with feeding, and I didn't pump, then here you go,
you'd have a bit more freedom.
Have a bit more freedom when I was at home, stuck on, you know, she was stuck on the boob. If I was out in public and sometimes stuck on the boob, whatever was more convenient at that time, we worked around it. And I think there's a lot of pressure for mums, especially when the baby's small. If they take out a bottle, you almost feel like it's someone watching me and judging me because I am feeding them with a bottle without even knowing your story behind why it's happening.
But saying that, going back to your point, Fish, it's also taken, like, so when a mum, say Jess, you're out in public and you've got like this newborn baby, you obviously have never breastfed before, and your baby, you're trying to make him latch on. You already have that pressure of, you know, trying to make that connection with your baby because you're
already sweating.
You're exclusively breastfeeding, right? And then you have Nancy and Susan over there looking at you like, ugh, why is she not covering herself? Yeah. So it's like, it's the both.
And you've got the baby screaming its head off because it's hungry and it can smell your milk, but you can't latch on, and you've got all this pressure. And
I didn't care about that, you know. I remember
some women do.
Yeah, I remember once I was on the overground with my mum and Maya was hungry, and my instinct was to feed her, and I took her out and I just started feeding her on the train, and I didn't even batter an eyelid. And I remember sometimes Dan would say, if someone was to ever say something to you because you are breastfeeding Maya in public and they say something negative, I think I will switch, because what is wrong with a mother feeding
it's just been baby? So sexualized as well.
So there is that aspect. That's an extra added layer of pressure that you have, you know, unnecessarily, I think.
I just think people are so quick to judge. Like, imagine you have tried and you're just in so much pain because your nipples are cracked, you're bleeding.
That was me.
And then you go out and bring out a bowl. People are going to be like, oh no, why is she feeding? But they don't know what your nipples are looking like at the moment. Are they the ones in pain? Like, they make it sound so beautiful and so, like, apparently this is, you know, it's amazing. Not always that. But they don't get into the nitty gritty of, like, oh, you know, it's gonna hurt you. And the thing is,
mastitis. Have you?
Yeah. Once your milk starts,
awful thing ever.
Once your milk starts flowing, and then, you know, for say your baby's not latched on well and he's not feeding well, you've now got so much milk in your boobs. And I mean, I've never experienced it, but I can imagine the pain, because I've felt other women's boobs when they've got this, and gosh, they feel rock
cabbages.
Hard.
I mean,
cabbages?
I used to cabbage leaf.
You put it inside your bra.
Yeah, in the fridge, so they were cool, because my boobs were so hot.
Like soggy cabbage leaves?
No, like the repollo.
Yeah.
And you just put it in the fridge, like take the layers off,
like,
and it would feel so nice, the cooling sensation. Because, I was... When my milk came in, it was just so much, and obviously at a newborn stage, how much are they taking? So I was feeding Maya whilst also pumping and storing it for next feeds. But like I said, if there wasn't any breast milk at that time, and she needed a feed, then, you know, I wanted a rest, have a bottle because you're hungry. What am I going to do? Not deny that from you?
No, I guess in part it also gives, you know, the dad some sort of like responsibility, because I'm guessing as a dad they don't have, you know, much to do with the baby, and they like
might feel a bit useless.
Like
it's
time
that.
to bond.
Yeah. Well, we find it as breastfeeding. It's our time with the baby. We change the baby. We butt off the baby. We, you know, you get a whole year with the baby. Dad gets 2 weeks. Can you judge them for not, you know, feeling that bond? Because can you really bond with someone for 2 weeks? No. So
I'm still
that
trying to
as
bond
well.
with my child, to be honest.
But it's that, like, also, you know, like, if you prefer to mix feed, there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
Like, you're giving your husband, your partner, whatever, the opportunity to also make, you know, that bond, because you're like, this baby looks up at you, and there's nothing more. I think that's one of the things I most enjoyed about breastfeeding, when they obviously open their eyes and then they're just looking deep into your soul.
And they smile at you while they've got your boob in there.
For me personally, I genuinely enjoyed it, and I remember feeling when our journey stopped, I struggled with that because it felt like she didn't need me anymore.
Yeah.
And we did the mixed feed until she was 7.5 months, and there was weeks or days where it would just be my boob, and there would be other days where it would be both. But I remember feeling really sad that the journey was over, because I enjoyed it, and I was one of the few out there who didn't really have much pain feeding. You know, Maya was great at latching on. She would, you know, be good at emptying them out. We would alternate between, and it was okay. But when she decided it was time, and I was upset about that.
Just in this upset thing, like, because this is something I kind of recently, you know, heard of, but where they're less on your boob, it automatically affects your hormones, which is 100%. Why you. So
100%,
you know.
And I think for me, it was almost like another roller coaster. You know, it was like the whole giving birth, bringing baby scenario again that we talked in our last episode. It was like feeling those things again. Your body's trying to rebalance itself. It's like, okay, well, we're starting to slowly produce less milk. Maybe they're dropping feeds, or maybe they dropped feeds completely, and now your body's trying to adjust to that new whatever that is. Almost like going cold turkey, because when you breastfeed, you release that happy hormone, or so they say. And then all of a sudden you've gone from doing that on a daily basis to not doing that at all. And how do you know
what? That's so weird. Like, when I remember at the beginning, I would feel so upset, like so sad, and I would feel so lonely, like. And then he would stop feeding, and it was like I was happy again, and then I started, like, it started to hit me, like, hold on, is this a pattern, or is this, like, you know, I started to question myself. And then I asked a friend if, you know, they had gone through, you know, breastfeeding, and now they had stopped and everything. And I asked, oh, you know, like, this is how I'm feeling. Like, is that, you know, normal? Did you ever go through that? And she actually said to me, like, yes, you feel happy, but it's just your hormones, again, going in and out, because, yes, it should be a happy thing, but it's just in that moment that you feel that. And I don't know, it's just this, it's so crazy what a feed does. The same way as when I first fed my baby, my cramps, it was like I was having contractions again, and I was like, oh, like, you know, when you have really heavy periods, and I was like, why the hell? And
why am I in pain after I've just had a baby? And, like, I should be recovering.
When I wasn't feeding him, he was, my body was fine, and as soon as he'd be on, it was like hurting again. And then again, I looked into it, I read, and it's actually it helps your uterus shrink. Yeah.
Wait until the second one.
Oh God. I think
it gets worse.
I'm all right with my dog and my baby.
I can, like, sit here and say that I liked it the first time round with Joel. I didn't like it with Caden. Like, I think it was mainly because my nipples were always bleeding, and even pumping would hurt. Yeah. So I don't know. And because I had, like, a toddler running around everywhere and, you know, screaming, "Mummy," like, when I would put Caden on my boob, I'd have another one, Mom, I just pooed, come and clean me. So it was kind of like, and obviously I'm at home by myself, and I was just like, I just found it boring. Like, I couldn't bond with Caden like that.
Because your concentration wasn't all there because you had to, you know...
I had to tend to someone else's needs. So I didn't find it, you know, that's why I did 2 months and that was it.
I loved so much that when there was visitors and she was due a feed.
Oh, I love that now,
to be like,
guys.
you know what? I'm going to go into the room, and I didn't care to whip out my boob and feed her wherever I was. Especially if I was at home. I'm comfortable. Obviously respectful of people's feelings
How
and
they
whatnot.
feel.
But if there was too many people around, I'd be like, right, she's due a feed, and I'll go into the room, and it was just quiet. And, it was, for me, it was like a bit of an escape.
I used to go feed Caden. You guys always used to follow me.
You know what now we're sitting here looking at her like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Why did we follow you? Like,
I had no escape with you guys.
I actually remember one of the first times following you, I was actually looking how it was working because I was so intrigued at
literally
how does it actually work, because Kay and Maya, they're 2
months apart.
2.5 months apart, so they're really close in age. So when Kay was born, it was like, right, I'm gonna have one of these very soon. One of these
the
new
edition.
little editions. You know, it's dropping soon. I need to feel prepared in knowing what I'm doing. Gullible without even knowing that it's not always what you want. It's how things happen.
And sometimes it's not you, it's the baby.
Exactly. And you take it so hard upon yourself to blame yourself. Why can't I do this? Why can't I? It's always
I'm so sorry that we always followed you.
I know. I've said that already to you quite a few times.
I remember once, I think, it was for Caden, and I had never really seen the whole pumping thing. And I walked in, and you're like, "Do you want to see my nipple?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And it was this is how we pump. And just going on to that thing, it's like in my case, I exclusively breast for 8 months, and I was pumping for, here and there, and it can be so literally a full-time job 24/7.
I did not enjoy pumping.
I didn't really.
For me, it was painful.
I didn't really. Yeah, I think that, and I mean, for me, it didn't. I would pump for Bants basically because I didn't mind being exclusively,
available to him.
Feeding on demand, because I spent most of my time at home alone, because obviously during the time that it was all going on, it was very busy at work for my partner. So it was for our household, it was the most convenient, just because I didn't really want to get up in the middle of the night to the kitchen to make a bottle. I know I could have the stuff next to me, but for us personally, it works better. A lot of people were like, oh, Jess, but you can get more freedom like this or that. And it's just like, yeah, but I'm all right. And the thing is, you've got your freedom. If this is my freedom, then let me be. If anything, like you said, it was my freedom to get away from visitors and just go to the room, or for me, it was very when people come round and it was having your baby and you just want your baby back because you miss them, even though they're in the same room. Yeah. And then they're due a feed and you're like, yep, can I have my baby? And then you just feel like, oh, I don't want no one to take you again.
Yeah.
But yeah, this pumping thing is hard as well. Yeah. It can be very mentally draining, because you've just fed your baby and now you're having to pump to keep a supply so that, your partner...
It's an all-round job,
or
isn't it?
whoever is there to support you is able to help you out, and it's just very draining. And I understand when people do this and then they just go off it, because, of course, you said it, your nipples hurt and you feel like a cow and you're just there, your nipples are constantly being stimulated.
Mama, I love you.
How do you feel about stopping the breast?
The first few weeks, it was one boob was so hard, and I was like, oh my god, I was so scared about the whole mastitis thing, because it's your milk flow is good and then now it's not being taken out. And then I started seeing him just eating more and just getting off the boob, and I just started feeling I found myself being come Leo, come, it's time to feed, come, and he just was not interested, and I was sitting there
why don't you want me?
With my tit hanging out, why? You love it. And at the beginning, it was like, it was just sad because it was kind of like, oh, my baby's growing and like, you know, our journey is coming to an end, and there's just this beautiful thing about looking at them. But having said that, I'm all right now because he forever scratches my face and pokes my eyes and pulls my hair, and like his leg and his feet are like up my nostrils, so you know.
How's teeth? Does it feel?
He doesn't bite. He's not a biter.
I was so lucky because Maya teethed really late anyway, so her first tooth didn't come out until she was about 10 months. So I never had that
Maya was
worry.
teething since she was born.
But her teeth never came out. But
because I've never experienced that because I always stopped really.
And Leo was an early teether. He got his first tooth at 4 months, and I remember everyone was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna bite you!" And of course, I was literally scared. I was like, from the moment I was like, the moment he bites me, that's it. Your tit is done, cold turkey. But he only bit me once. And
so you basically lied to yourself.
No, but it was like a little nibble. Like,
it wasn't a full bite.
It was like it was like a little and I flicked his ear and he looked at me like, wow, is this how we are? And then he just never did it again, and even till now, like, he's good and he's got like a whole set of teeth, so but no, he doesn't bite me.
The same amount as mine, if I'm honest.
But now, no, he's on 2 bottles a day. Every now and again, really. I don't do it every day because I just find it so long, and where I'm so used to it, and Jay also bonds a bit more with him, and he understands why I was so adamant in just feeding. And it's a bit selfish.
The point you said about at night, especially with almost like the convenience, because I remember sometimes it would just be easier for me to wake up and just whack her on the boob, feed, burp, change her if needs, go back to sleep.
And they don't really go fully awake because you're so quick to just literally flip the tit out.
It's like an express machine always there, but I mean,
you were going to take your tit out.
There was nights where actually, you know what, I was so tired.
And when you're sleep
that's what I felt.
Deprived, you get angry.
Some days but with me it was, I've had really hungry babies.
Yeah.
So I would put both of them, it was the same thing, and both of them only liked the right tit. So I would always have one tit like super red and probably really red because a friend of mine told me that I had to like brush my boob like aggressively.
What, a comb?
Yes, a comb.
Scratching your boob with a comb?
Yeah, but like my boob was like, you know when it's got like little blood particles? It was like that.
How hard were you going on the poor boob?
Well, my friend had told me that this is how I get the milk to come out.
Been that friend.
Been them.
We can say that because that friend is one of us.
But yeah, like I couldn't. Like my kids will be on, I swear, so long on my boob, and in the nights, imagine them waking up. You don't know how much they're taking in, and normally when they're like really little, they fall asleep really quick,
so they don't get full.
Yeah, exactly. So you put them down, and then you have to like, you kind of like go to sleep again, and then bang, they wake up, and you're like,
oh, that is annoying. And you know when
hungry.
literally like you've got them on your chest and you're like literally leaning down into the Moses or wherever you've put them on the crib or whatever, and you're like, don't breathe.
Literally.
You literally are horizontal on their mattress as well, and then you just come out and they're like, nah! You're like, for fuck's sakes, that only took me 20 minutes 10 times, and
it's draining. Like imagine doing that.
Draining.
Imagine that. Like you have to be like so like patient and determined to do.
There'll be nights that you could. There'll be nights.
Yeah,
no,
but there was you're not every single day you're in the same mood.
No,
that's
like,
so
there's
true.
things that happens during the day that would just not, you're knackered for the night, and you just want that little bit of help.
You just want the 2 hours uninterrupted sleep.
2 hours, that's all we're asking for. And you know what, it tests you so much. Like for me, it was like where I exclusively breastfed.
Do you guys hit your husbands?
This is what I was about to touch on. I would sit there on the bed, like, because apparently they don't hear the baby cry. I mean, I don't know what skill this is, but he would be like, the next day he'll be like, oh my God, the baby slept the whole night. And I'm sitting there like, I've had 45 minutes sleep.
No, Dan would wake
go
up.
away. I know, like sometimes he'd wake up and he'll be like, do you need any help? Like, do you want me to go make him a bottle? And I'll be like, no, it's fine. Again, because I just got myself into that selfish mode. And also because I knew that it was much easier to just whip the tit out, he would eat and go sleep, than Jay having to go make a bottle, come back. And also, guys, I'm sorry, but he would sit there feeding him, and then when it comes to burping, I'm just sitting there watching, and he would just start falling asleep. And obviously my fear is that you're going to fall asleep, drop the baby, and oh my God. So I wouldn't even sleep during that feed. I would just sit there and watch, and I'd be like, hey.
But as a mum, you don't sleep anyways.
No. Oh yeah, but this is what I mean. Like, what's the point
as well?
What's the
I
point
remember
of him?
Maya grunting.
Maya grunted for the first month every single night, and when I started to finally accept the fact that she's grunting, so that means she's alive, she's breathing, she's well.
Yeah.
She stopped doing it, but for a whole month, and I had her in those cribs that you attach to the end of the bed.
Sleep by me.
Yeah, so she was next to me, grunting the whole night, and I couldn't sleep.
Kicked her out.
So I think
her.
honestly, I think that's why for us it worked to have the bottle feeding, because nights where my mum would help out, then I would have a full 5-6 hours sleep, feed the baby, done, I'm rested the next day, ready to rock and roll, rather than feel like shattered because I couldn't get over the fact that my daughter's grunting.
I'd forever just sit there and look at him with his useless nipples just snoring, and so I'll just kick him. I'm like elbow into him, and he'll be like, hey, and be like, what? Oh, are you okay, baby?
I always did it to Ollie.
And then you'll kick them and like just move them about. And do you know what I used to do so much? Because he would snore, I'd pull the pillow with one hand out of his head, and then he'll be like, oh shit, and I'll be like, baby, are you okay? And like, yeah. Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, okay. And then he'll go back, and again,
when they'll turn around would be the one. How dare you turn around?
Yeah, you just woke up. Stay up.
Yeah, as I'm here
watch
feeding,
me feed.
As I'm here feeding, you want to turn your back on us. It's not even me, on us.
I thought this was our baby.
Yeah, I think those days are probably when you were most tired.
Anything.
Or when you've been up a couple times during the night because maybe they're cluster feeding or going for a growth spurt. Those were the worst ones.
No, the worst is when they start sleeping till like long, and then you're like, yes, they're getting a hang of the sleep, and then they sleep nothing, and
the
you're
next
like,
day. What did I do wrong?
Like, and you start looking back to the day before.
Exactly the same thing, almost at the same time, to make sure that the night is a replica of the night before.
Do you know what? The day that happened to me, I couldn't, I literally woke up at 3 thinking, oh my God, is my baby still breathing? Like, what's the time? Why haven't I heard him crying? And my guy's like snoring, like the baby is the guy. He was snoring. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, let me go back to sleep. And I'll go back to sleep. Still, I wouldn't hear him. Look again. And it's like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I'm like, oh my God. And then in the morning, I'll just hate myself for why did I not just sleep throughout the whole night? But you've just got this thing of like, you always wake up. Why are you not waking up?
Yeah. Just to make sure, it's sometimes
it's because your sanity. Yeah, and your body just gets used to this. And
Mama's Code.
I remember once I didn't wake up.
Really?
How probably tired
were you?
Well, was I at that point? Because I remember that it was Dan. He was like, "Baby, like, do you want me to?" Because when at night, Dan would always ask me, do you want me to feed her or do you want to feed her? And he actually woke me up. I'm laying next to her. So how did I manage to sleep through her cry is beyond me. Or
that's maybe, 1 point for you.
Yeah, or maybe at that point, I don't know.
1 point Melissa, 0 for Maya.
But yeah, and I remember feeling pretty bad, like I'd failed as a mum because I didn't hear her at that moment. At that moment, I didn't hear her, and I felt horrible because I thought, "Oh my gosh,
yeah, what kind of a mother am I?"
What do you mean I didn't? What do you mean I didn't hear my own child? She's right next to me. And then I started thinking, how long has she been crying for? And according to Dan, she had just started like waking up. So who knows? Maybe my body was eventually going to wake up within the next 5 seconds. But for me, I gave myself such a hard time because I didn't. Because why as the mum, why didn't I wake up before the dad?
But why? But it's that again. You put so much pressure on yourself.
I'm rolling the mum guilt.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like they're the dad too. It's okay for you to, you know, want to. It's like I had this girl on Instagram that she would for Mother's Day and like her birthday, she would always ask for like a hotel and she'll stay away for two days by herself. Like she didn't ask for anything else, and her partner gave it to her. She had 3 kids. Why is that? Why does that make her a bad mum?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Just because you want some time
To yourself. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what happens sometimes is when you become a mum, you almost lose your identity in a sense. You
100%.
stop from being this person, you know, Melissa, Erica.
No, we're just
Jessica,
mums.
and now we become our kids' mums, and it's like, hold on, what about the person that I was?
Sorry, I didn't realise I wasn't allowed to shower anymore.
Exactly.
Or eat.
Or maybe, God forbid, I have a bit of fun. That makes me a bad mum.
Yeah.
You know, that's just more added pressure in all different angles.
Yeah, get it thrown left, right, and centre.
Just going to the night shifts as well, like from someone that's done it exclusively, like it can get very lonely. Like you're sitting there in the middle of the night, stressed out however many times you've woken up, and you're just thinking, gosh, like I'm the only one up at this time doing this.
We would message each other randomly at these points. I remember I messaged you a couple times to be like, hey, you awake? Because sometimes it's like at these specific times during the night, they would wake up. It's like, yeah, you know, our baby just woke up, or I'm just feeding, or just about to go to sleep, or go back to bed.
There's this other mum as well. Like I think she had the baby like 2 months after Leo, or a month after. And I remember like I posted something and it was like 3 a.m, and she liked it, and I was like, oh my god, like she's up feeding her baby. And it would just be so nice because it was like having a conversation with another mum at that time, like, okay. And then I remember one day she was like, all right, see you at 5 a.m, and literally it was 5 a.m. and we were like, oh hey, you're back here, so I guess you're putting them down now. And then when the kids were ill again, it was that person I was talking to at 2 a.m, like, oh, my baby's got a stuffy, you know. And it was just nice. It wasn't lonely, but it can get very lonely, regardless if you're doing bottle feed or breastfeeding. It's lonely.
And sometimes you almost feel it's a bit unfair that the rest of the world is getting to sleep and you're here up.
And you know what? Like
how many other mums or dads are up at this time feeding their children.
And also, there's people that say that, oh, if they're on formula, they'll sleep for longer. That is a myth. I mean, in my case, I think it's a myth because I've tried that. Because I there was one point that I literally slept 45 minutes for the whole night.
That's the worst.
And so the next night, I was like, no, I need to get myself some serious sleep. And I fed my child formula before going to bed and formula in the first wake up. And no, he was up the next hour asking for food.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it could have been a growth spurt because they're constantly, you know...
You go through them, like, every single day.
Oh, literally.
Or when you think they've just come out of one, you're like, right...
how long do I have to the next one?
A couple days. Okay.
And then you go through regression.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think you should just feed your baby however works for you. And, what you know, you're the one with the baby 24/7, so...
And I think a big point as well that you don't really think about is what it can do to you mentally.
Yeah.
There is that pressure out there that breast is best and you should give it a go or whatever. But if you're for whatever reason struggling as a mum, sometimes you have to think about yourself first, because if you're not caring for your own self first and putting you as the priority, you know, how can you make sure that you're the best version for your baby? Sometimes bottle feeding is the best option for you, because for your mental stability and sanity, you need to do this. You need to get the rest. You need to live your life, or
you just need a glass of wine and not feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
So you've got the formula there. I had a glass of wine. But obviously after much research, and I did actually ask my doctor about it, because it got to a point where I was like, I really need this, because I feel like I just want to feel a bit normal. Like I just want a glass of red wine with my steak. And for me in that moment was my me trying to connect with the old Jessica before baby, and now it's like I said, you change from the minute you find out you're pregnant. You give up so many things. So I remember asking my doctor and feeling so bad about asking if I could have a glass of wine, and he said, you know, it's absolutely fine. Do give it 3 hours between glass of wine that you've had before the next feed. If you're sober enough to drive, you're sober enough to be able to feed. But in that case, this was where, you know, formula can come in. Like, you can reconnect with yourself, whether it's, you know, it doesn't have to be alcohol, but it can just be going out for lunch with your friends and just going shopping and just not feeling that, you know, you just have to be there with your baby. Yeah. And I think now that I've started to wean off the boob, I know my baby can go for 3 hours without boob. So I feel like, oh, I've got 3 hours that I can do so much in. And then, but now it's like, oh, I can actually take 5 hours because actually he can have formula and nothing is going to happen to him. And, you know, it's great. Like, started feeling like I can just start reconnecting with myself again, and I could feel like I can go out more. And not that I couldn't before. For me, in my head, it was like
quite limiting.
You had to be available anyways.
Yeah. And, you know, from the beginning, we did give the baby a formula. I think he was like 3 weeks old, because we always wanted to implement the teats, so that it would, in case I was to get ill, or in case anything was, God forbid, happened to me or whatever, or I couldn't be there, then at least the baby was used to the teats, the bottles. So we did implement that from the beginning, and I knew it was fine, but I like I said, I was just a selfish person because it worked for me.
Why is it selfish?
Yeah, because other people would think, oh,
but why do you care what other people think?
I know, but again, this is where the whole mothering thing comes in. There's so many people that feel like that judgment, that pressure, that this, the same way you feel the pressure to breastfeed, you feel the pressure that, well, I am breastfeeding, but now apparently it's bad because I'm being selfish, that I'm just breastfeeding. So which one is it? Do I breastfeed or do I not breastfeed?
You breastfeed, but people expect you to only breastfeed till 6 months. And then if you go longer, or like if you want to breastfeed, how long is too long?
Can you do a year? Can you do more? You know, people start saying the benefits are done after this month. You know, what are you doing? Or you're being, whatever the case is. It's almost like you can't do something, right?
Right now, I'm getting a lot of people, like a lot of adults were saying to me, oh, you should feed. Now, those adults are telling me, like, when are you going to stop? You know that your baby's eating food now and you've implemented formula, like, why are you still on the boob? And it's like, well, because I still want to have that moment with my baby. And also, my child went through 2 months of not having anything. Any food I would put in his mouth, he would just be like, bleh, I don't want it. So where I was breastfeeding, I felt like, okay, he's still getting the nutrients in and somehow he's getting fed. But just that thing, like, do you breastfeed, do you not? If you breastfeed exclusively, you're selfish. But if you don't,
how long do you go for?
Selfish,
and how long are you going for?
And it's almost like you feel like you have to justify yourself to people. You don't need to. You do whatever feels right for you and your family and your situation. If you want to stop, you stop. And if people say, why?
Why not?
Because I would want to. And that's enough of an answer. You don't need to find 21 reasons to justify why you've taken a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've come to terms with that, like, to just be like, whatever, like, if you don't like it, look away.
Mama's Code.
So to wrap this episode, our golden tip is to do whatever you feel is best for yourself and for your partner, your situation, your family, whatever works for you. At the end of the day, there is one need, and that need is to feed your baby. So whether it's breastfeeding, bottle feeding, mixed feeding, whatever the case is, do what works for you. And if other people want to say and point the finger and talk, then we just have to almost learn to
smile and wave.
And it's sometimes easier said than done, but it does get easier to do that. And whatever you do, people would always have something to say.
And again, you do one thing that everyone's expecting you to do, and then they question you when it's going to stop and when are you going to change that. So again,
and I think it's not a problem if it's sustainable. If it's not sustainable for your household, then like I said, look at alternatives. Don't just pressure yourself into, no, I have to do it like this and I'm failing. No. If you can't keep up with it, it's absolutely fine, and just, you know, look at alternatives, and you will instantly feel a bit better and feel that relief come off you. And
you're still making a bond if you're bottle feeding, so that pressure added.
You're with the child 24/7.
Exactly.
What more bond do you want? But yeah, I think that's all, guys.
Thank you, and
Stay tuned. Mama's Code out. Mwah.
Mama's Code.
like a hotline. Yeah.
I'll just be like...